بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Kind attention, Dr. Maisara, Professor Haizat, and Dr. Noor Zafir. Good morning. Uh, I have the pleasure to submit my presentation for the colloquium about my topic, awareness and readiness for adopting passive optical networks in Saudi Arabia. First of all, I will give brief introduction about my topic. And before going in details, I want to say that the main purpose of my topic is not to discuss the technological side. I'm interested in discussing only economic and management sides about passive optical networks. Actually, there is difference between the passive optical network and the networks we used to know. Um, the purpose also is that legacy local area networks and the normal networks we know hadn't been changed since decades. Networks based on copper, cable, and racks and multiple servers are the same since several years. Passive optical network generally and passive optical LANs are recent telecommunication technology that depend on fiber and uh, being used in domestic applications, commercial and governmental applications. Uh, Passive optical LAN technology achieve several benefits. It achieves about 55% of saving in capex, capital expenditures, and around 75% saving in OPEX, um, expenses of IT operation and maintenance. It saves also around 60% of IT energy costs, cooling expenses, and so. It saves also about 50% saving in IT installation costs, 75% saving in floor space consumption. Floor space costs so much money if we consider the land cost, and so. It saves also up to 65 combined saving. This is brief introduction about passive optical network and passive optical lens. Um, Here also additional benefits. It secure signal transmission along the path of data transmission. We can transmit data in one cable with a long of 20 miles compared to 300 feet only in the traditional networks. Traditional networks is the networks that use the copper cable, but we will use the fiber optic and different devices in order to achieve long transmission. Okay, it doesn't require power devices or repeaters between the data centers or desktop. Passive optical LAN architecture centralize IT expenses. I don't need to put racks or servers or units in each building. It is enough to have one network to connect multiple buildings with one infrastructure only. It enables governmental, commercial, and national security organizations to revolutionize their IT infrastructure. Also lowers the total cost of ownership, enhance security, and allows more effective use of national resources. We don't need to consume copper, plastic, and other resources. It is enough to have that cheaper cable of fiber optic, and it will achieve technological benefits. Okay, enterprise networks, high building and large office campus environment, and so many other reasons on why we need to use passive optical LAN over conventional structured copper cables, the old network. It is that it is innovative, reliable, secure infrastructure, lasts up to 50 years, transmits the speed of the light. Okay, uh, 200,000 kilometers per second. It is the speed of the light. Okay, I don't need power to achieve this speed. It is enough to have a copper cable and its related devices. It increases the downstream up to 50x of the current speed of the traditional network. It supports all technology. We know it supports Ethernet, Wi-Fi mobile devices, voice over IP, Internet of Services, security equipment, cameras, surveillance, video conferences, IPTV, line TV broadcasting. Also, it is not getting affected by electromagnetic interference. If I put power source beside the copper cable, it will not interfere with it, which maintains secure and stable connection. And so it's a simple diagram. Of course, it could be more complex than this one. This is traditional network. Um, uh, you can recognize that there is multiple devices here, while the structure of the passive optical LAN is very simple. Problem statement: uh, legacy local area active network largely unchanged for decades. There is significant low adoption of passive optical network, although the cost efficiency and cost saving it achieves. There is no enough adoption. It is not well spread, so that it's a problem. I consider it as a problem. The lack of knowledge and awareness among network experts, construction companies, and the working companies. Um, if we will ask network expert about passive optical network, most of the experts will not know about it. Accordingly, this costs the economy enormous unnecessary resources that could be saved. The absence of awareness would lead to random marketing efforts and to inaccurate marketing segmentation. The absence of proper market segmentation also would affect the sales. Questions: what are the reasons behind the adoption of passive optical network? How far network experts know? I'm asking about the awareness, know about passive optical networks. What are the factors affecting the adoption of passive optical networks? What are the general consideration of adopting new technologies generally? Okay, I'm speaking about the theories, not passive optical network or passive optical LANs. What are the general consideration of upgrading, migrating from old technology to new technology? I'm not adopting a technology. I have already old technology and I want to migrate from old technology to new technology. What are the market efforts needed to spread the awareness about passive optical LANs in Saudi Arabia? What are the sales efforts? I'm asking about marketing and sale to spread the awareness about passive optical LANs in Saudi Arabia. Research objectives. First of all, I will highlight in my research a brief comparison between the traditional lens and the passive optical lens. What is the difference? What are the differences between both of them? Um, I need also to compare the costs if I'm implementing traditional network and passive optical network, because it's a factor. Also, cost is a factor of adopting or not adopting this new technology. To investigate uh, why passive LANs are not widespread in Saudi Arabia, to study the factors, reasons affecting the customers to migrate from old to new technology. I want to measure the awareness of passive optical LANs in Saudi Arabia. I want to specify the marketing scope needed to spread the awareness in Saudi Arabia. I want to specify the sales efforts we need to exert in order to achieve a sales of passive optical LANs in Saudi Arabia as an outcome of this research. Hypothesis: I am assuming that spreading the awareness about passive optical lens would lead to higher adoption and migration from traditional network to passive optical network. Measuring the awareness of passive optical LAN in a country would specify the market effort, and the same for sales as well. Measuring the number and size of customer in the sample of research, there is sample for this research. Measuring the willing to migrate or upgrade would create an area of sales. This is also a hypothesis of this research. Contribution: There is theoretical, there is practical, there is empirical. The research aims to find and list out the theories speaking about technology adoption. There is several theories about technology adoption I will highlight, and will speak about the history and the development of these theories. The research aims also to come out with model or theory to explain the first adoption and any subsequent migration or upgrade of the newer technology. Practical contribution. The research aims to highlight passive optical LAN market segmentation in Saudi Arabia and the sales efforts as well. Empirical contribution to study. The study will focus on different sectors in Saudi Arabia like government, public sector, and private sector. The scope of this study is passive optical network generally and passive optical lens specifically. Comparison between the active network and passive network side of the research. I will discuss cost saving factor, cost efficiency, awareness of passive optical network, the readiness to migrate, upgrade the active lens to passive optical lens. I assume that sample population within the scope of this research currently would have passive optical LAN or currently implementing already local area network. The limitation of this research, actually there are several types of connectivity. There is several types of LANs like FTTC, FTTB, FTTH, FTTD. I will speak about them at the final slide. The current study would focus only on the FTTD, fiber to the desktop, fiber from the server to the desktop where I am sitting and working. No copper cables in between. Okay. The geographical scope of this study is only Saudi Arabia, no other countries. Theories to be discussed. Actually, when I zoom out from passive optical network, passive optical LAN, I will discover that it is only a new technology. Some theories discuss the adoption of new technologies. Many theories actually, like theory of reasoned action, technology acceptance model TAM, extended technology acceptance model TAM2, innovation diffusion theory IDT, and the same theory is named in another researches like diffusion of innovation DOI. Both are the same. The unified theory of acceptance and use of technology UTAUT. Actually, this theory is combined of 8 theories. It involves IDT, TAM2, TAM, TRA, and so. I plan also to study the theory of technology obsolescence model when the technology considers to be obsolete, okay, that enforces us to look for newer technologies that affects the previous theories. I will also refer to it. Based on the dissertations I have reviewed, almost all dissertations are discussing more than one theory. It is not only one theory when it comes to discussing new technologies. Some researchers select one theory that he finds it is only suitable for the context he is discussing. Some researchers combine more than one theory and offer a new model. And almost all researchers exerted appreciated effort in demonstrated the history and the development of the theories. Here we can say the model, we can see the model of a theory of reasoned action, TRA, and here technology acceptance model, here extended technology acceptance model, TAM2, and here innovation diffusion or diffusion innovation, this is the model, and the combined theory, the final theory, the aggregate theory that combines all the previous theories. Okay, literature review. Actually, I downloaded and reviewed many dissertations, titles, journals about the technical specification in order only to fulfill um, the introduction part. But besides it, I downloaded many dissertations, thesis about the technology adoption theories, um, almost for now um, 23 theories filled in the matrix, advised by Dr. Professor Rahizat and Dr. Noor Zafir, title submitted by year, university, sample, size, variables used, methodology, qualitative, quantitative, mixed mode, data collected, the theory. Here also we will find that some dissertations use multiple theories here, okay. Also the advice of future studies and the notes, okay. This sheet also would be attached with as a presentation in the mail, inshallah. I will get back again to the presentation. Here, if I'm speaking about the model I'm going to build, inshallah, actually I have three options. Either to go non-experimental by selecting one of the theories, one of the models, and check if it applies on the passive optical lens as a context. I will consider the passive optical lens, this new technology, as context, and I can apply a theory, but um, there would be no much contribution by going for this option 1. Option 2, to go experimental, initiated from the previous literature. I will suggest variables to test and evaluate. Variables, as example for now, during this initial judgment, it could be brand loyalty. I have never found a model speaking about brand loyalty. I suggest also that IT, information technology, information system security fears are factor of adopting or not adopting a technology. Level of awareness also, it is important. It is there in several models, but I need to test if it applies on the context or no. Stabilization of the current system, maybe the current system I am having in my enterprise is stable, so that even if the new technology is cheap, even if it is advanced, I have no major force to migrate from the current technology to new technology. Option number 3, to exert whatever it takes, if it takes time, take effort, in order to add real contribution. I mean by real contribution, new theory or model, okay, by combining UTAUT with technology obsolescence with marketing for B, in order to build a new theory or new model. Why I am speaking like this? Because the current theories focus only on the first adoption. It doesn't focus on the migration or upgrade, okay. um, because also the UTAUT is a theory built on 8 models, so it is common to merge models generating a new theory. Outcome of this contribution would be marketing and sales as outcome of this research: marketing and sales, segmentation, and listing of customers. From the dissertation I have reviewed, I will go, inshallah, um, mixed mode, questionnaire, and interview. Interview first in order to specify how the questionnaire would go. Then we'll go, inshallah, with the questionnaire. I will sit with experts. I am specified already some experts working as CEOs of worldwide companies. I will sit with them and inshallah will finalize the questionnaire. I found few theses that use interview before the questionnaire to specify the direction of the questionnaire. This is the route I would go. Okay. Some other researchers did interview after the questionnaire. I'm speaking about the researchers who conducted mixed mode just to translate and evaluate. Primary data mostly collected, very few secondary data used. So my approach would be qualitative and quantitative. It would involve the utilization of qualitative research method in addressing the research question. The research would involve interview with network experts, as I said. Analysis would be company authority network expert from each place, public or private sector. Last slide. I'm attaching with this presentation a brief research proposal. It is my initial research proposal. For more details, some more details are there in this proposal, and also the initial findings I came to have till the moment after um, reviewing the dissertations I have demonstrated right now at the Excel file, and some abbreviation related to the context of passive optical networks. Thank you so much. I appreciate the time you will spend reviewing this presentation, and I'm so sorry because the time just extended for some time, but this is the maximum briefing I can uh, say in order to give you good idea about my topic. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.